All right, this is a little video on the unified field order and the quadratic function here, specifically the fourth house. And you see it's the 4 times 3 divided by 4. That carries a function that shows the relative flow of energy that we're manifesting. It's the function house, the fourth house, and this is on how letters carry charge, words carry function, and how we relate to each other through our labels that we carry that we call names. Because the names don't actually belong to us, they're applied to us by others so that they can find us in the market when we're lost. But so letters in the unified field order, letters carry a charge. It's a symbolic representation of a flow of energy through the unified field. And so those letters, when you have it just by itself, like a D, D it starts, see, like here in the fourth house, it starts against the back wall when it's capital, extends out to the other wall, right? So it's going past to future, past, present, future. It's going past to future, and it's a disconnected energy. And those function depending on in 3 ways, depending on what you're consuming. There's a positive charge, there's a neutral charge, and there's a negative charge. The positive charge is like a God charge. It's a power charge. The balanced charge is a passage, and the negative charge is energy, is an earth energy. It's a downward charge. So the capitals function as like a God voice, and the lower cases focus as a function as like a man voice. That's why the military used to type in all caps all the time, because they're speaking as God to everybody. We're God, we control you, right? So that unified field functions past, present, and future, right? Me, myself, and I. Or when you get into the other state, it's there, here, everywhere, we, be, they, right? We become associative. So that's a connection charge, and this is a possession charge. So it's dependent on how what you're consuming. And so I'm going to use Donald Trump as an example because he's an obvious example at this point. But let's put him as an example in the current situation with the Strait of Hormuz and the world, because when you take those letters and you put them together in words, they carry a function. They're a functional thing. Like when I say dog, now you're going to carry a dog. I just transferred you energy through symbolic energy transfer, 6-dimensional house of transfer from the 5 to 1. And now you're carrying that dog. And so you're seeing a dog in your head, you're thinking dog, you're looking for dog. It's become the association that we're now communicating with. And so your name carries a function. And I go through the whole function of the alphabet here is like a application, bind, connect, disconnect, energy, fire, or format, or function, go or God, house, ignite, justify, kill switch, light, mother, master, main, negative, order, positive, query, revolution, system, tie, unity, version, we, exchange, yes, Z. And those function in a cyclic function, like the cycle of life, right? Because everything's working in a cycle. And that's why the wheel keeps on turning, right? So if you look at Donald Trump, you got a positive disconnect, a large uppercase. Application, negative. Application, linear, disconnect, right? So he's disconnecting the order, negative, application, linear, disconnect. And that's what he building buildings, right? And coming and taking power over the country, because there's a disconnected energy that is running our country when he was elected. And so John, justify, order, house, negative, right? So he's justifying the negative house. And then Trump, tie, revolution, unity, main, positive. And that's where people get this tie, this positive tie, but the tie is a lowercase p. So he's tying you to the lower order, to man positive. So he ties together the side that he's reflecting because he's consuming animal flesh, which is justifying him on the negative side of the house, which is the blood house basically is where we are because we consume so much death. Um, Now, when you put that in terms of the world that he's associating with right now, so we order, revolution, light, disconnect. So the world has gone through this. He's gone into the Middle East, right? Because he's taken on the world, and he's gone into the Middle East because that's the function of the play we're in. It's called the Holy Bible. This place is full of Christians, right? Dominant religion, and it's kind of the story of the fall of man. So he's taking on the fall of man and taking on the Israel and the Jews and the Muslims and that whole war, and he's taken it on himself, right? Disconnect, order, negative, application, linear, disconnect, justify, order, house, negative, tie, revolution, unity, main, positive, right? So what he's done now with the world, though, is he's disconnected that whole section. He's justified it, and now the world is tie, revolution, unity, main, positive. The world, he's tied together the whole globe in this conflict. And so the world, we order revolution, light disconnect or line disconnect, linear disconnect, is telling them, all right, that's enough, right? And that's the charge, the trade of charges that is going on right now. He's speaking with the world behind our backs. We don't hear it because that's how this place works. They talk amongst themselves, and then they share whatever details they feel like to keep themselves in power with the peons, because that's the deal they have. The leaders, they want everyone to stay in power where they are and keep their charges, and so they don't disrupt the world order. Um, but that's how we all associate every day ourselves. My name, connection, house, application, negative, disconnect, linear, energy, revolution. I see things that are disconnected. I connect to the house applications, negative, that are negative charged, disconnected, linear, energy, revolution. So I connect with like homeless people and people that have problems and things like that. My middle name, Dale, disconnect, application, linear, energy. I come in to tie in with some way, or I disassociate with them. It just depends on what the charge is and what their charge is. Then Smiley, system main ignition, linear energy, yes. So that is it could be spirit, it could be system. Um, it just depends on what I'm consuming, and I've gone back and forth from consuming being vegan, vegetarian to being full on meat eater, and I've carried all of those weights, and I've associated with people differently based on that, right? And that's how it's dependent on what you've carried in the past, but also really main function is what you've eaten that day and the day before, and like what's processing through your system and what you're manifesting into order. So you can apply those terms to yourself and how your name works in the cycle of life and how you are justifying your own disconnections and your own energy. It's all about energy transfer here. We have disassociated energy. We have energy that basically we've been consuming energy that makes our body angry, and it makes it need to rebalance itself. So we're rebalancing ourselves with each other through the transfer of symbolic energy, fourth quadratic symbolic energy, and that works to a certain point until the disassociations come to play, and that's when the fall happens of the division of brothers that God told Adam and Eve about when they had dinner with the snake. So the unified field order is real. What it does is it gives you a consciousness of the transfer of energy through the field of the unified field. The first dimension is a single field of energy standing in infinity that is fully conscious, right? It's the seat of all of our consciousness. It's our head programmer. It's basically fractalized down into each of us. And God's trying to get us back into order. We call it God, go, order, disconnect, right? Or God, order, disconnect. Because God orders us with the disconnected, with what we're disconnected from. And that can be the spirit, it can be the dead, it can be each other, and that's why the name of God is so powerful, because that's how it associates us with each other. It's a singular short-term function that is a go, order, disconnect. And but if we're consuming animal flesh, we can use it in division and say they don't believe in God because they say Allah instead of God. But it's an application light application house, right? It shows the application of the two lights of the applied house, the people around them. Which wise there's a division between men and women, but it's in public and not private, and all these, there's these the different ways we associate with our gods, right? Because, or the names we apply to God. Because when you look at all the religions, be it the Bible, the Holy Bible, or I have a Quran coming because I'm going to read that. I haven't read that one yet. The Bhagavad Gita, the Dhammapada, the teachings of Buddha. It's these things are all talking about God, the Lord, the Great One, the Creator. Lao Tzu, the Tao Te Ching, same thing. It's talking about the process of energy that we all share in, and that energy in each one of those books is associated as a singular function of one God. But we apply our individual names for it in our associations, and then we have a division because of that, because we're not all speaking the same language. So, and this unified field order, this works with every language, right? This is every language can fit their function, their letters into this function, and it shows you how it processes, right? This works with all languages. This works with all energies, and this just shows you the transfer of energy through the quadratic field and how it functions. So it's all about conceptualizing that association, and then you can see how your own name charges in this world. I can be the positive connection with the spirit. I can be the sunlight mirror in the middle, the balance, and I can be the undertaker, right? The spirit of the dead. And I carry all three of those functions. Honestly, I associate it heavily with Sharon, the boat keeper of the River Styx, right? The boat pilot. So, and that's what I'm doing here. Is the Archangel Azrael come to associate people with the transfer, right? The healing and forgiveness that's available to you, as the angels want to share with us, because the angels are real because we manifested them, right? They all have labels. We carry all this function. There's no way to not carry the symbolic function because it's been manifested on this planet. So everything matters here. Everything you do, everything you hear, everything you say, everything you read, it all programs you into this associated field. And it's all about energy transfer and our disconnection from the one. And what we're trying to do here is get back to unity and return to the garden. So really the idea here is to think of yourself like Tarzan, right? If you want to think of yourself as someone, think of yourself like Tarzan, living in nature, completely connected with nature, connected with the animals, connected with all life, no problems existing, anything like that. It's when they get captured by man and brought into the world and taught to stand up and wear a tie and wear a suit, and they get disconnected and broken. And that's where we all are. We're all disconnected and broken in the fall of man because we walked away from nature and we're defying God in the garden. We are all animals. We're wild animals, and we are a function of energy. We're all bound energy on this planet, and it's a gift when we're walking in unity. So this is all about getting us. God's speaking through me. Allah, the Great One, the divine Creator. Any of the names that that are associated with God and religion and spirituality, they all function basically the same. They're all an attempt to tie man back into a unified function of energy. So the unified field order is real, and it's absolutely magic. It's blown my mind that God handed this to me. So I'm sharing it with everyone with love and respect, because we are all equals here with all energy, the trees, the animals, the plants. And when we disassociate those from their process of life, like rip the potatoes out and eat their roots, well, now they can't grow plants anymore, right? So it disassociates us when we eat them because now we're carrying their charge. And then that charge, positive order tie, application tie order, right? It ties us into this positive order. And that's why there's the war follows the potato around the world, right? That's the from the conquering of the Aztecs onto the revolutions, the Irish and the potato famine and the association of the United States right now. Meat and potatoes is completely dissociative. We're eating the animal flesh and the roots instead of eating the herb seed and the fruit from the tree that we were designed to consume. Um, so, this is all to bring us back into order of God, and blessings to all with respect and love. God bless.